Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Inside Eden. It's your design bestie, Jamie Roddy, answering all of your deepest, darkest questions about interior design. Today's is about dopamine decor. The question is, Jamie, I really like this trend of dopamine decor, but it also seems kind of chaotic, and I'm not sure that I could live that way. What are your thoughts? I have so many thoughts. Per usual, friend, I have so many thoughts. So let's start with the basics in case you aren't familiar with dopamine design. Dopamine, you probably know, is a beautiful neurotransmitting chemical in your brain that is the same one that gets set off when you're in love, when you see anything that you love, if you hear a piece of music you love, you eat food that you love, things that make you happy in a nutshell. Maybe nutshells make you happy. I don't know. It's different for everybody. And that's kind of the point of this whole answer, this whole A part of the Q&A is that dopamine is different for everybody. So let's kind of get into the history of dopamine decor. Did you guys know it started from a TikTok trend called dopamine dressing, where people just wear whatever the heck crazy stuff they want to wear? And I am all for that. In fact, I'm a huge fan of dopamine dressing. I'll start off right off the bat. I don't want to live in what it would be typically called a dopamine designed house. But my point that I'll get to little by little is that all good design is dopamine design. It's all dopamine decor if it's well done and you have yourself represented. But back to dopamine dressing, huge fan. Anybody that does that, we are friends. I have a girl in my gym that comes in with like crazy sparkly glasses, disco pants, some sort of like jaunty fedora cap, and like a Let's Go Barbie party t-shirt. And every day I'm just like, just your presence brings me joy. That brings me incredible joy. For me, I don't want my interiors that way. I like her because she walks into my vision and then she well changes into her gym clothes, actually. But I love a good dopamine dressing moment. I remember one time many years ago, I had a bestie named Emma and I went to her house. I showed up, she answers the door. She says, "Look, I'm wearing all my favorite clothes today." She was English. She had a ridiculous accent. And I was like, yeah, wow." She was. She was wearing her favorite dress over her favorite jeans. And it was like the early 2000s, so it was a strap dress with her favorite t-shirt underneath, as we did back then. All her favorite jewelry, none of it matched. I was surprised that both of her shoes did match. But she was the progenitor of dopamine dressing. She knew it back then, and so here's to Emma from the aughts. So back to this trend in dopamine decor and the viewer's question or listener's question. A lot of it can be really chaotic. And I tell you, I don't want that in my own home because that doesn't bring me dopamine. Do I like to do that for clients? Heck yeah. It is so fun. In fact, for many years, most of my design was on the West Coast. And I've been doing much more work on the East Coast, specifically in Florida and specifically in vacation homes, because they are much more colorful over there. And then also in a vacation home, you can really lighten up and let loose. And so that's just a lot more fun for me as opposed to doing the same beige and blue pillows all the time. Don't get me wrong, I can do that. It's very easy. But I do love to design for my clients when they want a dopamine decor sensibility. However, couple things. One is you still have to have good design, and good design has balance, and good design has harmony, even within the chaos. So sometimes I will see certain designers do dopamine decor, and I just would be like, if you want that level of chaos, you're gonna have to go somewhere else because to me, that's not good design. But then I look at others and it is whimsical, it is wild, and I love it. I don't want to live in it, but I want to create things like that, which I have and which I do and which I have a lot of fun with. So to answer your question, dearest listener, um, everything is dopamine decor, boo. Like for me, I get a dopamine hit anytime I see very large scale abstract art, as you can kind of see behind me. I get a dopamine hit right now more than 5 years ago when I see hot pink and turquoise together. I used to think turquoise was the most violent of colors, and now it gives me all the feels. I think it's because I'm in my Miami era, but still. Like dopamine decor is for everyone and in every choice. And so it's also a really big proponent for me as a designer that people do come to me when they want something different. I live in a somewhat homogenous community, and a lot of my work prior to my expansion out to Florida, it's kind of a lot. It's when people want something different, they come to me because a lot of the neighbors, they all have the same photographer shots in their house. They all have the same beige and slate blue. And people would come to me and they're like, I don't want to look like my neighbor's house. Boo, I got you. I mean, I can also make it look like your neighbor's house. We do that with our eyes closed. But that's what brings your neighbor dopamine. I had a client that didn't hire me once because I kept softly suggesting that she add a little slate blue. She was like, no, only neutrals. That that's her dopamine. That's what she needed. I had a client the other day, a very long-standing, like, bestie of a client, and they were doing a colorful revamp. I guess they're getting a little more into the dopamine decor as well. We had already built their beautiful house. It's picture perfect, but it's mostly neutrals, and the wife wanted a lot more color. So balancing these colors is a skill, is an art. So it's not for to pull it off with panache. It's really difficult for a layperson to do it. Otherwise, you just look like you have random stuff everywhere. And that for me isn't my favorite. Does not bring me dopamine. So we're doing this, and I introduced an opportunity to infuse some fuchsia, some of the hot fuchsia color that I'm wild about right now. And the client, I've known them for so long and we're good friends. He actually asked his wife, do you think Jamie's mad at me? Why do you think she would give me this? What brings me dopamine doesn't necessarily bring everybody else dopamine. And that's why I think it's so funny, this trend of dopamine decor. Like, all good design is dopamine design. Like, I get dopamine hits when I listen to classic country music, when I listen to EDM, when I eat nachos. Like, I get inordinately excited for Super Bowl because of the variety of different dips that I'm gonna have. That's dopamine for me. And everybody has their own thing, right? I love how turquoise looks with zebra. D- Hardly anybody does that, right? But for me, it brings me dopamine. And that's what good design is about. So, when you are designing your house, it will be dopamine decor if you love it. And if you're hiring a designer, you need to have, like, part of my process, I have a very hard and fast rule that I don't take on any projects, and I will not start any project until you give me copious photos of rooms that you love, vibes that you like, so that I can design for you. I am not designing for me. I am not designing for your neighbor, and I can make all of your houses stunning in infinite ways for you based on what brings you ultimate joy. So if you are hiring a designer, it's just like if you're going to radically change your hairstyle, you're not going to go to the hairstylist and be like, kind of like this. No, you're going to have tons of pictures. So you want to do the same thing with your designer. You want to make sure they're on the same page, and try not to edit yourself based on what you think you can have, what you think your architecture can sustain, what you think you should do based on your zip code or based on your neighbors, right? Take it all to your designer. A really good designer is going to be like, okay, I see this side of you. Let's incorporate it. It's different. It's quirky. It's fun. It's well traveled. It's intelligent. Let's mix this in. But then that same good designer is going to be like, but but we need to temper it. We need to balance it. You don't want to just walk into chaos. I had a client one time who unfortunately is no longer a client because this is in my younger days and I would kind of just like be more of a yes person to the detriment of the entire project, right? At this point, I'm not a yes person or I have no value add. Now, if you still want to do it after that, I'm going to tell you the reasons why it's not a good idea. And then you can make that choice, of course. But anywho, so this client needed dopamine decor. She said sometimes her and her family go to like a really dark place. Her, not only her and her husband, but also her kids. And they need bright colors and they need these things in order to feel good when they come downstairs. So she's having me order like low budget, lime green, turquoise, hot pink pillows. And I knew they were gonna look bad for the quality and the coloring and how it juxtaposed for the whole house, and so I was like, "How about we do a couple of those colors?" And she's like, "No, I'm very adamant. I need these colors to get me out of these funks." And there is psychology behind that. But if your space is ugly, it's depressing. So you need to still balance it appropriately. That is accurate dopamine design. Dopamine design is for everyone. So if it knocks your Roxy socks off to have nothing but soothing neutrals and you just, oh, feel so relaxed in this space, that's good design. That's good dopamine design for you, not for your neighbors. Don't worry about them. Now, I will say, I do like to jazz it up a little in a laundry room, specifically because laundry is like boring, right? So even if somebody likes soothing neutrals and, is not really one to shake or rock the boat too much, I could generally ease my clients into having a little more fun in their laundry room. And they always like that, like a fun splashy party tile on the floor or some great wallpaper or some silly art. That's I always try to push that on my clients, I will say. You've been warned. Another thing that I like in dopamine design, even for the most soothing neutral palettes, is just little I like in every room personally. This is me, designed for me, not necessarily for my clients. So I might introduce this idea of like a soft dopamine approach to them, but I like a little bit of quirk. I like when an end table has its legs and they're actually like ostrich legs, but it's a fine bronze end table. I like a little bit of decor that's just a little like, what? What is happening? What is that? And it just makes you smile. So as long as these things are still in like really elegant finishes and structures and they're, finer art, that for me brings me dopamine. But again, there's just so many ways to do it. I will finish with one kind of hack for you that I'll do a whole other thing. I'm sure somebody's going to ask about biophilic design, but plants are a really good mood hack. They are really good dopamine design, period. Some people will, this is more like my friends or whatever. Hey, what's going on with my house? Or what's going on? Can you spruce up my office? I'm like, just get a plant, bro. It's going to bring you so much life, so much energy, so much joy. And even if you have two black thumbs, terrible lighting, travel too much, a silk plant, like those are instant dopamine decor. I can tell you that right now. That's kind of off topic from what is traditionally known as dopamine decor, but whatever. I do what I want. So in closing, let's just say I think the movement of dopamine decor is silly pants because all good design is dopamine decor, and good beauty and good design is about the emotions that it incites. It's about the balance, it's about the harmony, and it's about how you feel in your home. So if it makes you happy, do you, boo. That's it for now. I'm your girl, Jamie Roddy. Ciao for now.